Hi, welcome back to Defying the Stars Tarot and Astrology. Today I am going a little off script and I'm trying something different for the channel. Let me know if you like this, if you want to see more of this, if you hate it and you never want to see it again. Just let me know what you think. Comments are always appreciated. But today I wanted to take a minute to share a brand new deck that I just got. I don't know when I'll be getting any more decks in the near future as life circumstances are changing a little bit right now. But for now, I have a new deck and I want to show it off. And I am super excited about it because it is from one of my favorite creators out there, Critical Role, wearing the shirt today. For those who aren't familiar, Critical Role is a channel where, in their words, a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors sit around and play D&D. And they are so much more than voice actors. They are incredible creators, and they make the most incredible stories. And if you want to watch some really great drama, comedy, all-around fun stuff, I highly recommend. But this product comes from their store. It is Mollymauk. Let me double check that. Mollymauk's and Jester's Oracle of the Moon Tarot deck. Ooh. It is. Sorry, I keep looking to my right because that's where my screen is, where I'm checking to see if you can see anything. But I'm so excited to take a look at this deck. The story behind the deck, at least in terms of the lore on the channel, is in their second campaign. There were a couple of characters um, who enjoyed tarot reading, that kind of thing. And the first character, Mollymauk, ended up giving his deck and passing it along to the second character, Jester. And Jester started to expand the deck. And that's one of the coolest things about this. So taking it out of the box, you can see the deck right here. Comes with the little oracle guide like most oracle decks do, although it's not very intensive, so it's definitely a deck that if you wanted to try it out for yourself you would read more intuitively, but it is full of Easter eggs for Critical Role fans. um, the um, the guidebook has plenty of little notes from Jester in it. Jester is very much a trickster sort of character. um, so this deck is a little different than many traditional tarot decks because every card in this deck is two-sided. So you'll see this first one, we have the moon and the mirror. You could flip it around if you so chose. So the idea is there are kind of two concepts on each card, and you could, if you like to read reversals, this is a great deck because however it comes out, okay, maybe the one on top is the one you're focused on. But then there's kind of that shadow side of the card. So I'll just show you a few of these because there are some similarities with traditional tarot decks. Like the moon is always a card in traditional tarot, but the mirror not so much. So there are a few different things, but there are also, like I said, a lot of Easter eggs. Like this card has a couple of dragons on it. So we see on one end we have the tyrant and on the other the judge, and two different perspectives. There are plenty of Easter eggs in this deck for fans of the show, different characters that show up in the deck, different moments. Here we have the sword and the anvil. Sticking together. Got that new card stick. The eye and the hand. There's a whole thing with eyes and hands in that campaign. Home and traveler. Hunger and sacrifice. I wasn't going to show you all the cards, but it's actually a very small deck, so I just might, but no, that'll take a while. We got a lot of cards here. But they are gorgeous. And one of the things that is super fun when you get into this deck is that as you get far enough away, you'll notice that suddenly the cards change and you go from this like standard typeface font to a more handwritten kind of thing. And the idea is that this is when the character Jester took over the deck and started making her own cards and adding them in. So you get that transition in there and you get that flavor from the show. And then the last cards of the deck are blanks. And I really like this for those that are more artistically minded than me. I like to paint, as you can probably tell by the easel right behind me, but I like to paint by numbers. I need lines to follow. I need some guidance. So I don't know if I'll ever fill these in, but I love the concept that you can fill in your own cards and put in your own concepts and kind of make the deck your own, so that, no two versions of a full Oracle of the Moon deck would be exactly the same. Um, so that is my new deck, and I was thinking as a way to finish out this video, I would go ahead and do a little bit of a reading with these. It's a concept I picked up a long time ago, and I can't remember where, but it was the notion that you could do a reading to interview your deck and get an idea of their personality, how they answer questions, just get kind of an idea of what to expect from the deck. So I am going to switch to my card camera, and I will do a quick reading to get to know this deck. I'll be right back. All right, here we go with the Oracle of the Moon Tarot Oracle deck. I am going to give it a quick shuffle. There's not too many cards because I apparently really need to beef this up by adding my own. But just to get a little idea of the sense of this deck. First card I'm going to ask the deck to give me is a general idea, the best reflection of the personality of this deck. All right, and we have Sacrifice and Hunger. I am a little unsurprised that this popped out just because this is one of the feature cards for the company, I think, because I've seen it on, like, they made a t-shirt with this card and that was like the only one. So it makes sense that this is um, kind of a core card for the designers, for the people who were most involved in making it. Sacrifice and Hunger, what I get from that is a sense of coming full circle. So when we talk about the idea of hunger, hunger has to be fed, and in order to feed hunger, something must be sacrificed. So, whether you're, a meat eater and you are, going to have to slay something in order to eat, or, even if you're a, nice vegetarian and you go out and you pick a vegetable, you're still sacrificing that item to the hunger. When I ask about the deck's personality via this card, that gets very interesting because there's an idea in there that I feel that with this deck, you are going to get in or get out what you put in. So whatever you give to this deck, it is going to be fed that, and it's going to take your sacrifice and give you, feed your hunger, whatever the case may be. So that's a really interesting first card to get to know this deck. I'm going to also ask this deck, how do you like to answer questions? What is your style? And what I mean by that is, some decks might be very direct and very literal. Some might be more, vague, or ask you to read a little deeper. Some might like to speak in riddles. So I'm just going to cut the deck and see what it is, how it is that this deck likes to answer. And we have we have rot and growth. And the character on this card is someone called Caduceus. He is a healer. He is a custodian of a natural space. So he is very much in tune with the natural cycle of life. I think this card coming out for how you like to answer questions, I get the sense that it really likes to use metaphor, which is perhaps not surprising for any deck, that metaphor would be involved. But also that it's going to be very down to earth and natural. It's going to be tied back to the natural cycle of things. So if you can keep that in mind when you're taking its answers, that could be helpful. And let's ask this deck one final question before we wrap it up. Uh, let's ask this deck. Hold on, I'm thinking of how to word a question here. Let's ask this deck what it wants to offer. What is it that this deck is able and trying to give to the user who is reading cards from this deck? So I'll get one last card. Jewel and Thief. So I think that this card is, I'm going to emphasize the jewel aspect first because that's the nicer side of it. I think that this deck is saying that it hopes to offer the reader um, little gems of insight, as clear in this little picture of somebody holding a jewel. But I think inherent in this idea, when you're combining jewel and thief, is the idea that that sometimes these gems may be maybe a little hot. They may be a little they're taken from somewhere. And I think the reminder that this deck is giving me personally is that, again, going back to the sacrifice and hunger, you get what you put in. And if you come to readings over and over again with an energy of gimme, 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 tell me what I want to know, the deck may start to get a little thin and not have as much to give back to you. As it would if you were coming to it from a place of gratitude and a place of respect, and a care for the kinds of questions you ask and the kinds of things you're asking it for. What I mean by that is I feel like some people tend to abuse the tarot decks a little bit in terms of trying to ask for information on every little thing. My personal belief is that tarot is meant to help you grow, to help you develop as a person, to become more self-aware, to guide you through challenges in your life. It is not necessarily there to tell you, um, you know, to be the flower that you're plucking. He loves me not. And not that we won't do those kinds of readings sometimes, but it's never quite as straightforward as yes or no. It's going to be, what's the true nature of this relationship if we do a reading like that. And so just coming off my tangent, I think that this deck gives a real important reminder that, you do need to be circumspect in the way that you approach tarot readings and the kind of answers that you will get. But I had a wonderful time taking a look at this beautiful, beautiful deck. Just I'll just spread it out and look at some of these just a little bit more. The art is wonderful. And like I said, it has so many beautiful Easter eggs for fans of the show. Caleb and Not. This is the title characters of the deck, Mollymauk and Jester. Just very lovely cards, and I am excited to incorporate them into what I do here. So that was Mollymauk's and Jester's Oracle of the Moon deck from Critical Role. I just want to say Critical Role did not give me this deck or pay me to talk about it. I just wanted to show off my new deck. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think of this kind of video. If you would like to see more decks in more detail, whatever you feel. I would love to hear your comments. Do all the YouTube things if you like my content. I would love to see you again. So please like, subscribe so you never miss a video. And with that, I will shut up and let you go. But thank you so much for joining me. Bye.